Well, I didn't know that someone was going to start mowing the lawn right outside my window, which wrecked the audio for that last live. So I'm redoing it for your benefit and posterity's. MLM Heretic on a Saturday coming at you with episode 17, solving the number one problem for most network marketers. And the real issue for most is they don't even know what it is. Intrinsic value versus perceived or theoretical value, and why most network marketers make this fatal mistake. So I'm going to take a shining example right out of what is currently in the financial news right now, cryptocurrency. We have a lot of them, but I'm going to name a couple of them. Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, all cryptocurrency is intrinsically equal in their value because of how they're created. And it's from something called blockchain, which is nothing more than a fancy calculator being run by computer programs. Now, this is something that's interesting. Mining Bitcoin alone is also using more energy than the entire nation of Argentina. So I want you to think about that for a minute the next time you're considering buying this planet-destroying digital nothing commodity. Now, the value of any cryptocurrency that is set is merely the power of the marketing narrative told by any of the various cryptocurrencies promoters. So whether it's Dogecoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin, they are all identical in their intrinsic value, but differ greatly in their perceived value. That's why Bitcoin is worth $50,000 per coin, and Dogecoin is worth, I think, less than one, like 78 cents, something like that. But if you're not already aware of this, cryptocurrency's intrinsic value is really nothing. Now, don't take my word for it. Ask one of the most brilliant investors on the planet, Warren Buffett, and his pal and partner, Charlie Munger. Now, these guys are geniuses. And I tend to listen to geniuses more than the guy on Facebook that's, touting Dogecoin as the next, big money-making opportunity. And they're both saying that these cryptocurrencies are just a fad. And I happen to agree with them. But how does this relate to what I do in network marketing? Well, let me tell you in this next part, which is called The Network Marketer Who Cried the Next Billion-Dollar Company. And they cried a lot. Do you know the story of the boy who cried wolf? Well, if you don't, then go Google it. I can't tell it to you right now. It's a children's story. Most people know it. But almost every network marketer, especially junkies, when they get into a new company, they promote it as the next billion-dollar company. But they never seem to pan out because the number of billion-dollar companies that have emerged, even in just the last 20 years, are limited to a minuscule number total of only, can you guess? I bet if you guess, you're going to guess high, but it's only 5 because I went and looked it up just now. Why do people continue to use that term, the next billion-dollar company? I'll give you the answer in a few minutes because you're going to want to stick around for this because it's important to understand the psychological behavior and how it's tied to one key factor. But first, let's switch gears. I'm going to use another contemporary example to make my point. Again, I'm still sprinkling some facts in here to help you understand that this is just not my opinion. Kylie Jenner became the youngest billionaire because she could hold up a random product and then make obscene amounts of instant money. She has a computer mouse. Hey, this is my computer mouse. This is what I use to browse the internet. Go out and buy it. Because I did. And it's just that simple. Now, network marketers, they try and do the same thing with their products on Facebook, social media, Instagram, but they get zero or little results. Yet they continue to do it. Why? Now, personally, I don't, as general practice, hold up my products or even try to explain them to an audience of disinterested people who really don't care. Nor do I teach my team to do that either, because I'm just some random guy and I'm holding up a random bottle of stuff. It has no perceived value for my audience. Now, I certainly understand its value, and that's the key here. It does have intrinsic value, but it has no perceived value to people who don't have any reference for it. And perception is reality for most people. So if I were to hold up my product to anybody else, for them, it's like going into the store and seeing shelves lined with products without any emotional attachment to them. What catches a person's eye is really random, and most of the time it's in direct proportion to how many times you've seen it or used it or seen it on commercials or used it yourself. Now, what is the difference with Kylie compared to an unknown network marketer, even if it is the exact same or similar type of product? It's one thing: influence. She has it, and the overwhelming majority of newly minted network marketers don't have any. Now, this is the ugly reality that many people in network marketing refuse to acknowledge about this business. And for many years, I didn't even understand it myself. And it's only through my cumulative life experiences that I've been able to uncover this reality for myself. And it's this: network marketing is a business of influence, plain and simple. I mean, how can you miss it? It's right in the name: network. Network is who you have influence, who influences you and who you influence. So you either have it when you start out in an opportunity to become successful very quickly, like say you're already a network marketer or a doctor or a business owner or a person with a developed social media following, or even just an attractive woman who can use her good looks to get people, men, interested in her and what she's selling. Now, I know that may sound sexist, but it is true from a psychological and sociological standpoint. It's called the halo effect, another thing you can Google. But if you lack influence, what do? Well, like me, you have to build it over a longer period of time. And like many like me, don't have any prepackaged influence. And I still don't have a lot of influence. I mean, look at my engagement. I don't even have anybody watching me live now. My story doesn't fit with the narrative of the overnight success that people like to point to in this industry, because that's designed to hook people in. They use stories and anecdotes as social proof, which have no basis in reality for every situation and for every person. But what really made the difference for me? Well, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you who I am as a person. I'm just mentally tougher than most people, which allowed me to overcome the influence that I never possessed. And I really couldn't care less about, influence like that, like social media influence, because I know how to do this business without it. And striving on social media when everybody else is doing it is a red ocean strategy to me. But influence is a tricky thing, though it comes in many different ways. But what are the things that people do in order to increase their level of influence without any real proof? Well, for one thing, they use this type of hype, which I already mentioned, called social proof. Now, I did a whole video on social proof. If you want to go watch that, you can watch that on my YouTube channel or here on Facebook. It works like this: if you have enough people saying it and it becomes ingrained in other people's minds, then it becomes real, even when it's not. There was this guy, his name was Joseph Goebbels, who was Hitler's propaganda minister in the 1930s. And he used this social proof strategy perfectly to brainwash an entire nation to advance the Third Reich Empire's agenda of the final solution, which was to kill all the Jews in Europe, and eventually ended up in the death of millions of people worldwide in the war, World War II. So that's the power of social proof. It can be used as a good thing, or it can be used as an evil thing. Hitler uses it as an evil thing. So you get enough people to believe a lie because you tell them the same lie over and over again. And he was credited with saying it. Goebbels was credited with saying it, this very thing, even though historically it can't be proven that he did. And the quote goes like this: it's very powerful, it's very tested, and it's been proven to work. And major companies still use it now. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such a time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and/or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent. For the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. Now, you can substitute another word for state in the same idea, like network marketing or cryptocurrency or virtually anything that is based or founded upon a lie. And that's what's happening with cryptocurrencies and what's been happening in network marketing for over 50 years. And network marketers do use that same type of influencing lies and hype to get people to jump into their worthless, stupid programs. Now, parenthetical, if you haven't heard me say that enough, I'll say it some more because it's been proven from the graveyard of now dead companies that were touted as the next big thing in network marketing. So these programs, if you're saying that they're the next billion-dollar program or billion-dollar company, when statistically speaking, only 5 companies in the last 20 years have become billion-dollar annual revenue companies, even though hundreds and possibly thousands have started in the last 20 years with the same empty promises. So what are you going to do to gain influence if you don't have any, like I've had to do? Because that's what I teach people, and I'm really good at it. Is there something that can level the playing for you to make you successful in network marketing, to give you the type of influence that you can duplicate to your team? Well, there is actually with me in working on my team. And I know you're not supposed to say, join my team, and I'm not asking you to join my team. I'm asking you to consider it if you're wanting success and you're willing to work. Then we can start a dialogue. Look at the objective opportunity that I can offer you from a business standpoint. Because building a team is what I'm doing. Now, I didn't build a team for 13 years. When I came out of retirement, I had to start over because I had lost some people. But now I'm rebuilding. So the influence that I teach anyone to use is the product itself, because it creates influence, because it gets results for people that they want to continue to enjoy. And that's the bottom line, and that's what continues to make it a product with intrinsic value instead of just theoretical or perceived value. And that's the lesson here. If you don't have a product that creates influence for a number of years, so people will continue to purchase it over and over and over again, then you're just spinning your wheels trying to build personal influence that cannot produce permanent long-term results in actual product sales. Because that's the only thing in a legitimate company you will ever get paid on long-term passively. Now, make no mistake, you may get people to join your company and your team, but if at the end of the day, people don't have something that they can deliver to non-distributor customers, it's a worthless or very short-lived opportunity. Just like the cryptocurrency craze that is sweeping the world, that I believe will eventually end up in the graveyard of failed financial theory. Just like the housing market crashed because of something called credit default swaps. If you don't know what that is, go look that up too. Well, there we go. Another episode of the MLM Heretic Chronicles are in the books. Are we learning anything, folks? Or like I asked before, is it something that I'm just doing for fun? Because I am enjoying this. I actually like thinking. I like writing. And I like putting my stuff out there for the right person to see and learn something from. Possibly influence them to think a little bit and change their mind about what I do. Have a great weekend, folks.